It's the VGRT Gaming Podcast, episode 744, recorded on February 11th, 2025.
Hello, and welcome to the 744th edition of the TJ Gaming Podcast and 577th episode of Video Game Roundtable. I am TJ Denzer.
I am Scott Dirk.
And I am Jonah Falcon.
The VGRT Gaming Podcast focuses on game news from around the industry.
As you can see, I've been playing a bit with the interface, so it's not quite like a GeoCities or an Angel Fire kind of website, but for those of you who go to gamingpodcast.net, you might notice that it's gotten an overhaul. It's cleaned up the site, so it looks more natural. I am hoping it's still connected to iTunes, so after I upload this, I'll be able to know if I have some work there, some work I have to do there too. But it'll always be on Game Stooge Podbean, and also here on YouTube. Anyways, there's been a lot going down lately. So before we get into that, what have you been playing, Scott?
I'm still playing Jedi Survivor.
Okay. And what are you playing it on?
Steam.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it was put on Game Pass by Microsoft a few weeks ago. So I have not played much of the series. I only got through like 1/5 of the first one, and I don't know. I wasn't really in the mood for Tenchu, so I decided not to continue with it.
Tenchu?
Yeah, Tenchu. People say, well, it's sort of like Dark Souls. No, it's like Tenchu more than Dark Souls.
I guess I just liked it because it was like Star Wars Jedi and Force powers and all that stuff, and I was just enjoying the story. And
well, TJ would know. TJ, the Jedi games, they play a lot like Tenchu, don't they?
I mean, I guess kind of close to Sekiro, but they're a little bit more.
I guess I don't notice because I have the difficulty all the way down to story mode. I'm just playing for the story.
How much?
Yeah, but it still has the deflect thing going on.
How much stealth do you do in those games?
No stealth.
I would say not like Tenchu or Sekiro then.
Yeah, that's a choice though. If he's playing on story mode, he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna go in there.
There's no stealth. There's no stealth, Jonah, at all. None.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah,
no stealth.
Sekiro and Tenchu are like very, very, very pivotal on stealth. Even like barring boss battles, of course, because you have to like face them straight on. But for the most part, you want to sneak up on enemies and assassinate them before you fight them head on.
Okay. And how about you, TJ? What have you been playing?
I have been playing Embargoed, but I can talk about Deadlock. I'm still playing Deadlock. That's like the one thing I've been playing in between all of my work stuff because I don't know. I guess I'm just a sucker for MOBAs, but also I like the way that Valve's gunplay and character designs work. Like for
those who don't know, it's still in early access. Just so people know.
Yeah, like Valve is good at making fun characters with fun guns.
Well, they know how to do character design. Here's the thing. One thing that they said when designing the characters for Team Fortress 2 was that you had to be able to identify each and every character from their silhouette alone.
Yeah, and like every one of these characters that we have in Deadlock are they're just fun. I think that they've got a good style and because like the whole point of it is like every character in Deadlock is like a twist on some sort of urban myth or something, and they're all trying to deal with these supernatural gods to try to get what they want out of them, and like you get everything from like a gargoyle that lives in the Spanish Harlem to like a djinn, and it's cool like the way that they make that work.
Yeah, and for those of you who are really eager to play Deadlock, well, too bad. It's only invited users only.
But like the users that are in there can invite other users. Like feasibly, I could invite somebody if I felt like it.
Yeah, that's actually a good way to get rid of trolls and griefers. You know, Don't invite everybody. Just have people invite people they know.
Yeah, agreed. And I will be able to talk about the other stuff I've been playing next week.
Okay. I have an idea what you've been playing, so I could say it out loud, but I'll let you have your fun and not.
Yeah.
I've been still playing Foundation. I keep on starting and restarting because I'm trying to get a handle of what I should be doing. I also found that instead of playing at 2K, I decided to play down at HD instead. At around 1920, so that and it smoothed it a lot better, and it still looks the same. I really can't tell the difference between the two because it's a very cartoonish game. Yeah, so like I'm still trying to get into it. I haven't been playing anything else new. I did install Citizen Sleeper 2. I played the first game and I liked it, but the problem with the first game was that I got to a point in which I got myself, I can't progress because my character doesn't have the resources. I don't want to start this over again. So now I'm starting this one, and I haven't played too far into it. I haven't gotten off the station yet. And basically, from what I understand, Citizen Sleeper 2 is basically you in a ship and you're traveling all over the place this time. So do you know anybody who's been playing Citizen Sleeper 2?
I have not heard much about this one. I know about the first one from you, but I haven't talked to any people that have played the second one.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, it's a game in which you get die rolls at the beginning of each day, and you have to decide which die to use. It creates a probability that you're going to be able to succeed. It's very steampunk because you play a robot, you play an android who has the consciousness of someone else. Their consciousness has been copied into you because the thing is with androids is that someone signs up to work, and then they have an android made of them, and they have their brain copied into the android so that they can work in hazardous situations and forever. So that's the entire thing, and you play an android who's escaping. So there's the Blade Runner influence. And you've played Disco Elysium, right? A lot of this game's story and dialogue reminds me of Disco Elysium in that it gets philosophical, and the stats that you have aren't the typical stats. Like in Disco Elysium, you had culture and philosophy and sarcasm, that sort of stuff. Same thing here, sort of, kind of, except it's all robot-oriented. I haven't gotten far into it, so I really can't talk about it. Right now, I'm really getting into Foundation again because I'm trying to see if I really, really like it, or if it's just I'm only able to do the first part and then I give up. So, but they're constantly updating it. There's been like 6 updates in the past week of Foundation. It's like constantly doing little patches. Like I said, it's janky as heck. One of those indie games that was kickstarted in 2017 and it came out like a week ago. So it has that sort of long-time indie jankiness kind of game, which makes me appreciate Stardew Valley a lot more since there's nothing janky about that game, even when it was launched. Then again, he was working from a very tried and true thing. From what I understand, Rob Barone just wanted to make his own Harvest Valley. Harvest Moon game. That's all he wanted to do. And the people who actually made Harvest Moon or Song of Seasons were not making something that was advanced. They kept on doing the Pokemon thing, which they kept on releasing the same game over and over and over again. So Eric Barone said, you know what? I'm going to make the next gen Harvest Moon because no one else is doing it. And he did it. And he's going to work on it for the rest of his life, seems like. So.
We'll get Chocolatier eventually. The Chocolatier one. Which will we get first? Silk Song or the Chocolatier? Let's place our bets.
Grand Theft Auto 6.
Oh, that'll come out. I have no doubt.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about it right now. When it might come out for PC.
Yeah, because right now they're targeting fall 2025 for the console, and they haven't had any delays yet, which is surprising for Rockstar.
Yeah, anytime Take-Two needs some money, they say, "Oh well, you know what? when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes, we're going to be drowning in money.
Mm-hmm. They sure are. Everybody is already chomping at the bit to play that game, and it's like still probably at least a year or two out.
I want a proper Saints Row sequel.
Oh,
not that reboot. I'm talking about a Saints Row 5, or actually, would it be 6 now? Wouldn't it?
But Volition is no more.
Yeah, but so you can have someone else make it.
They're the ones who
have
made
Vicarious Visions do it. They do everything well. Toys for Bob.
Poor Volition. They didn't deserve to go out that way. And we'll never get another Red Faction game because of that, too.
And we won't ever get another, Agents of Mayhem again. Although I don't know if anybody... The funny thing about Agents of Mayhem and Red Faction is they all take place in the same... Saints Row, Agents of Mayhem, and Red Faction all take place in the same universe. It's true, because when you play Saints Row, the first time you play Saints Row, there's companies from Red Faction in it.
I actually did not know that.
Yeah, they're all in the same universe.
Wow.
So, yeah. So when Volition went, their entire universe went. Anyways,
that's a bummer. I really loved Red Faction. It was one of my favorite shooters back in the day.
So we're going to get into the news now. We're just going to get into brief news because there's been a lot going on, and we're just going to cover it. The first obvious big news is that the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct will happen in, 49 days. And people are wondering, aside from Mario Kart, what is going to be the basically the rumor is that it's
4 coming out?
No, I'm telling you, no, wait. Well, Metroid Prime 4 is going to come out for the Switch and perforce the Switch 2. No, the thing is that there's a lot of scuttlebutt that a new Mario game, a new proper Mario game, will be coming out to launch for the Switch 2. And by proper, we mean Mario, Sunshine, Galaxy, actual 3D platforming games.
I hadn't heard that. Yeah. I know that there's a remastered Zelda, but we don't know which one.
Oh, who cares? I mean, it's remastered Zelda.
Somebody like some of us like Zelda.
Yeah, it's just that's a remaster. Who cares? You can play it now on an earlier thing. No, I'm talking about new games and stuff like Mario Kart. And one of the things they showed off was that you can have 24 races in Mario Kart, which is going to be bonkers.
Yes, it is. It's going to be quite expanded. I don't know. Like, to Scott's point, like if they did a remake of Ocarina of Time with Breath of the Wild technology and visuals, that would probably make people go nuts.
Yeah, I think so.
I wouldn't personally be like, that's not my favorite game. I feel like it aged badly. But I don't know. I would go back to that if they did it in the style that they did for Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think of games that they're going to be rumored for the Switch 2.
Feels like it's going to be a Donkey Kong year. Like they're going to do probably at least one or two Donkey Kong games. One of them being like a major one. And then I don't know, maybe like it would be crazy if they did a new Diddy Kong Racing. That would be fun and wild.
I could see that. Yeah, trying to bring forward IPs that they haven't really explored as much or used as much.
Yeah. But they've been showing Donkey Kong a lot, and he's got like a whole new style now because of the movies. And I don't know. It just feels like this is the year where they go all out on Donkey Kong.
There's actually rumors that they're going to release games like Titanfall 2 and the Jedi Fallen games and Cyberpunk 2077. And speaking of remakes, I'm pretty sure, Scott, would you replay Breath of the Wild Enhanced Edition on the Switch 2?
I already had the first one, and that took me so long to get through, and I didn't even do everything either. So no. Not
an enhanced version.
No, I don't think they could offer enough. I mean, like if it looked good as it was, so I don't know what they could enhance that would make me feel like it's a new experience.
Okay. The Metroid Prime 4 Beyond for this supposed to be coming for the Switch, but they say there's going to be a special Switch 2 port, which I guess is just going to be taking advantage of the capabilities of the Switch 2.
Looking at yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm really interested to see exactly. Like, we still don't have specs on this, so a lot of the biggest questions are just like, what can the Switch 2 do? What is under the hood? We know it looks like a Switch now, but like,
it's capable of 4K.
But what is it like specifically packing as far as specs go? I think that's the part that everybody is the most concerned about at this stage, because I don't want to.
The only specs I would care about for the Switch 2 is the hard drive and how much memory it can have.
I care about a little bit more than that, just because, like.
Yeah, but so much of the Switch's limitations were based on the fact that it had almost no hard drive space.
Right. But it also had certain things that would make it harder to, like, that were harder on it when it was in handheld mode. Certain games didn't do well in handheld mode, and other games did less well in like TV mode than handheld mode for some reason. And so, I don't know. I kind of hope that the hardware is substantial enough that there's parity across handheld and TV modes.
I wonder if the Switch 2 is going to be... See, here's the thing that people are still asking. Is the Switch 2 going to be backwards compatible? And the answer is yes. But here's the thing. Another thing that people are asking is if it'll have any physical software. Like, is it going to be only digital?
Did they not see the video where it showed the little cart going in?
I'm just repeating what people are asking. Here's the real question: are you going to have to rebuy your games?
No.
Sure. They may have switched to exclusive versions of all the games.
Yeah, but at this point, they're really trying to make the Nintendo Switch account a thing.
Are you getting all of this? Because they said it was going to be fully backwards compatible. So I would think that you're not. It's linked to your Nintendo account.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is it like a big part of that nowadays that everything is linked to your Switch Online account? So like if you have a game on your account that you bought or is unlocked.
I remember them doing this.
But remember how many times you had to purchase the first Zelda game over and over and over?
Yeah.
Even though it was digital.
Yeah, I think that's what they're trying to avoid this time around.
I don't know. Nintendo's got a Nintendo.
Yeah, we'll see, I guess.
By the way, did we discuss a small group who won against Nintendo by forcing them to admit that emulation is legal?
Oh, I thought you were going to mention the Mario thing. With that guy,
that too, but I'm talking about emulation being legal.
Yeah.
Okay. No, what was the Mario thing you thought I was going to talk about?
There's a restaurant, I think in
Oh,
Peru.
yeah. The guy, it's in South America, and the guy's last name is Mario. It's like, you can't take someone's last name, damn it.
I think he called it 50 years or something, and it's like, that's it.
It's been around there for 50 years.
And they tried to sue, but they failed to persecute him or whatever. And
one thing is the restaurant existed before the Nintendo even got into the business.
Oh.
And they said, well, no one's going to confuse this for a Nintendo product.
No.
Unless Nintendo is going to start selling Italian food and pizza, no one cares. But the Nintendo 2 Switch Direct will happen on April 2nd. Early in the morning, too, and I think that's because it's in Japan. It's going to be at 6 o'clock Pacific and 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern.
Yep.
So, but on the other hand, I like that. I don't like... Whenever Microsoft does something, it's like, oh, it's going to be at 1 p.m., it's going to be at 4 p.m., I got to interrupt my day just to watch it. Now, if it's at 9 a.m., I say, fine. I just wake up, watch it while I'm eating my breakfast. Plenty of time to collect notes. So yeah, April 2nd. Circle your calendar.
Yep.
Now let's talk about PSN going down.
Yeah. So it was down for like almost a whole weekend. Yeah. And
Yeah.
just completely no explanation whatsoever. Just like it was just completely out. And I don't even know if they said if this was a DDoS attack or if there was a hacker group involved.
I
It
don't
was
even
just
know if they would
it was just
admit
down.
that.
I didn't bother checking because I was just I'm on Steam now and PC. But were you able to play a game that was already
No, and that's the thing that
installed?
people. Here's the thing: people who had digital libraries and did not have PS Plus were not able to play their games.
I was able to play stuff that I can't talk about so as long as it was like a single player game, I think it worked.
No,
but,
no. A lot of single player games are offline too.
Huh.
If you had a digital game, here's the thing: if you're playing special review copies, those are separate from everything else. But I mean, someone on Reset Era said everything was down. People at GameShare like me were locked out of their entire digital library, including offline games. Said I don't have PS Plus, but still couldn't play the games I wanted to. And here's the thing: like when my internet went down, I was not able to play my digital Xbox games either. Even though Microsoft says all you have to do is denote something as a home console and you're fine, mine was not fine. For whatever reason, I couldn't play my my digital games either. So yeah, here's a reason to have physical media. One of the things that really annoys me is that if you have physical media, you cannot review the game on Microsoft Store. It will not let you because it'll say you don't own it. But the disc is in the drive. You don't own it.
That's wild. Yeah, I didn't really get a chance to like notice if based on what I was doing if it affected me at all. But I did see online that people were kind of losing their minds over this, and it felt like it was for
an entire weekend,
3 or 4 days.
Yeah,
and that's a long time for a PlayStation to like not say anything about what it was or how it happened. And more than that, like I guess if we didn't notice it that much,
so
they compensated everybody by giving us like 3 days of free PSN to make up for it.
Whoop-de-doo. Sony blamed a quote-unquote vague operational issue as the cause.
Yeah,
I'm interpreting that as they done got hacked.
I mean, whoop-de-doo, yeah, but also at the same time, at least you get your 3 days back that you lost on for not having it.
I don't
charge
know.
you by month? Don't they charge you by a month, like a block of month?
Yeah, sure, but like they just strapped 3 more days onto everybody's account. It's
so
like
they gave 5 days.
Oh, okay.
But people who didn't have. But here's the thing: if you didn't have PlayStation Plus, then you're shit out of luck.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't subscribe to PS Plus. I'm not going to get that. And also, remember, we're talking about PC owners too.
Oh yeah, because I forgot some games still demand a PlayStation account.
PlayStation Network account, yeah. I mean, if something like this happened with Valve, people would have pitchforks, torches and pitchforks, marching on Gabe Newell.
You can still play your games offline.
Yes, on Steam. Yes, exactly. But apparently on PlayStation and also in my personal experience, Xbox, no can do. It's just really annoying. And this is why we still need physical media. You know what I would like is if they had next-gen carts, which you could write onto, so that all you do is plug it into your PC. Remember cartridges? At least with cartridges, you could just... Oh, actually, that's not true. The ColecoVision. Do you remember the ColecoVision? When you put in your cart, you have to wait a minute for the cartridge to boot up. And it's like, what? This is a cartridge.
Yeah, and I'm glad that. Yeah, I like it. You know what? I was even just like watching a playthrough of Bloodborne on PS4 the other day, and I didn't remember that game having long loading scenes in between, like when you would load an area.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, am I this spoiled by current trends where like it literally takes like a second to load everything?
Yeah. So, something else happened on PSN, which some people have noticed, is that Sony has been curating some of the shovelware PS5 games. Like games that used AI assets from developer Random Spin and people who were copying unpacking, the copycat games. And it's like all these really sus games. They were all removed from PSN and also from Nintendo's eShop. This is coming because a lot of people have been suing. Mob Entertainment is sued Google for failing to remove scam apps from the Google Play Store that was copying their game. Like they intentionally advertised with games like Poppy Playtime Chapter 3 and Poppy Playtime Chapter 4, even though they didn't create those games. It's like it's just, and the thing is that, it takes them so long to curate this crap,
Yeah. Yeah, wasn't that a point of like why Valve got rid of like Valve Greenlight in the first place, because it was just too much.
Yeah, no, but for that, Valve Greenlight, people were just making bullshit games that were never going to be made, but people were investing in them, and then Valve was forced to add $100 or some monetary amount in order to, announce that game. Didn't they increase it to like something like 2,000? I forgot, but it became a mess, and now we have early access.
Yeah. But this was, I don't know, that was one of the first things this reminded me of, is that, like, yes, curation is time consuming. But at the same time, if you don't do it, then you have, like, all the crap that, I don't know if you've ever been on the Nintendo eShop and just scrolled through and looked at some of the games that make it in there. But
there's some crap in there.
I
watched the Game Grumps play it.
Steam Greenlight was killed in 2017.
Yeah.
Man.
Like, Nintendo eShop is exactly what it looks like when you have zero curation.
So, I mean, is it really that hard to hire like just a group of 100 people or so to just curate it and make sure there's not crap in there and have a criteria and checklist thing? And I don't know.
It must be, because nobody does it.
Speaking of curation, Valve banned all the Steam games that force people to watch advertisements. So all those mobile game gotcha ports are gone.
Good riddance.
I know that I play Star Trek Timelines, and it gave me a message that it wasn't going to be on Epic Game Store anymore. So Epic may be doing the same thing. Not all of them are bad. Like I said, I play Star Trek Timelines. I actually spend money on it on occasion, so I guess I'm a whale. I also play Animation Throwdown, but that's because I don't spend any money on it at all. It's very generous. What I like about Animation Throwdown is very soft sell, very, very soft sell. You can earn gems, which is the premium currency, kind of easily. All it wants you to do is keep on logging in once a day. That's all it really wants you to do. So, but yeah, I just hate games that force you to watch ads. That's why I don't play Madden. That's why I don't play NBA 2K.
Yeah. I mean, NBA 2K, Madden is still, like, horrible about it. Every single thing that you do in that game tries to direct you either towards a season pass or an Ultimate Team's purchase. Just
Yeah.
It's so sloppy.
You know what other game, though, is just released? We're going to be talking about it in a bit. Civ 7 is the same way in that it keeps on putting up a banner telling you, hey, why don't you log into 2K's 2K? You know, create an join us with an account. So even a $70 to $130 game that's basically a strategy game is not immune to it. And there are some disturbing things about it, which we'll talk about later. But also, they also have a new Steam feature in which last week we didn't talk about it, but now they tell you how long it's been since a early access game has received an update. Because sometimes, those scam games, they receive a few updates and then they're never touched again. And you're stuck with some old early access game that's never going to be released anymore.
Yeah, this is an important step. They need to. I wonder if it's like a hand-by-hand thing that they're doing, or if it's like automatic to a certain degree. Because one of the test cases that people were bringing up is that Kerbal Space Program 2. It hasn't been updated in a very long time, and probably never will, because Private Division and the studio that was running it got shellacked. But it doesn't have this that warning on it yet, as far as I know. Yeah. Or at least it didn't at the time. So that made me think that like this is sort of an experimental rollout by Steam. Either way, I think it's a good one, because there is a lot of early access out there that just kind of dies on the vine, and nobody knows whether or not they'll do anything with it again. And I think having that kind of clarity is important.
Yeah, I have that one game from Kickstarter from like 12 years ago, or maybe 15 years ago. It was a dinosaur game. I have to look at the name of it. It's long dead, but it was like the Burning Isle or something like that. And I have I have a half of mind to go in there and see what's going on if I try and log into that. I'm trying to remember the name of it. But it's an infamous... Oh, Stomping Land. Yeah, Stomping Land. I last played it in 2014. Oh, it was Ark Evolved before Ark Evolved. A friend of mine has a Stomping Land on their wish list. Good luck. It's delisted. You're gonna have to tell him, you really want Stomping Land? I'll hand you my copy if you really want to play it. What's funny is I actually bumped into someone else when I played it in 2014. It was like a desert. It's like, oh, someone's actually here. It's just bizarre. Something that Scott may be interested in. Phasmophobia has 22 million sales, and it just opened up its roadmap for 2025. Are you still playing Phasmophobia, Scott?
I don't think I've ever played that.
Wait, didn't you say... Oh, wait a minute. Scott, you said you played it. It's the ghost hunting game.
I think I watched it, yeah.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, Phasmophobia. I really hadn't thought about it in like 2 years, and apparently it's still going on really strong.
It's also still like apparently in early access.
Wow.
But that is a game that gets all sorts of updates, so that's okay.
It's constantly updated. So now you can.
It's kind of a full experience. You go in there and you're exploring the house, and and you try to survive, and then your friends get killed and turned into ghosts, and
you're taking pictures and all that. Now you can take videos and audio recordings.
It's one of the few games I know of that can be played on PC, console, and VR, and has crossplay support for VR and all the other platforms.
Yeah, I can't imagine playing that game in VR. It must be frightening in VR.
Yeah, it is.
So it's still only $20 though.
Yep. Very cool game. A lot of people tell me that like I said, I haven't gone back to it because I'm waiting for it to have that full 1.0. And once it does, I'm going to dive in headlong. But it sounds like everybody who jumps into it has a really good time, especially if you have friends. Phasmophobia is a great game to play with other people.
Yeah. So basically, their player character overhaul, be able to do things. You'll have 3 new maps. You have the Bleasdale farmhouse, the Grafton farmhouse, and a small new map. Easter, Halloween, and holiday seasonal events. And then they have plans for 2026 too. And something they call Horror 2.0, whatever the hell that means.
Sounds exciting, whatever it is.
Yeah, so it outlasted Friday the 13th.
It truly did.
And, right now the 2 games is Dead by Daylight and... I forgot. It went from Friday the 13th and they turned it into Texas Chainsaw, didn't they?
They made the same people who made Friday the 13th made a Texas Chainsaw game.
Because they bought the rights so that they wouldn't have to worry about the problem with Sean S. Cunningham, who owns the rights.
And they did a pretty good job at that. Like, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game is pretty dang good.
But didn't something happen to the game? Or is it still around?
That one's still around. There's no issues with Texas Chainsaw Massacre at this time.
No, because I remember one of the horror games that wasn't Friday the 13th having to close, and basically since it was a live service game, no one could play it anymore. So
the only thing I can think of is that Dead by Daylight got rid of its Stranger Things content because their licensing on that stuff was up.
Okay.
And then people were so pissed about it, but like they basically, if you had the content, you could still use it, but if you didn't, you couldn't buy it.
Okay. Let's talk about Dragon Quest. Scott, you are happy that Dragon Quest 3D 2D, is it 3D 2D?
2D 3 or HD 2D.
Right.
Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D has sold better than expected.
Yeah, 2 million copies.
Yeah, and I think that's good news for that.
Very nice.
If you want like Dragon's Quest 4, 5, and 6 to also get this same treatment, and I hope it does.
Well, considering the fact that the Final Fantasy games just bombed. Even 16, which everybody was praised, a lot of people praised, bombed. And part of it was that it was single platform, and then it went to PC, but that was too late to save it. But guess what? Yuji Horii has confirmed that Dragon Quest 12 is still in development.
I didn't doubt it.
It was announced back in 2021, but they went radio silent for 4 years. So obviously people were
okay. Hold on, they announced like 6 games that night or that day, and they've done each of those games. They've released them. They've all gotten released, plus like 3 other games they squoze in there during the meantime. So Dragon's Quest 12 was always like going to be the last one that they get to.
I guess, but still.
So that's not exactly radio silent. That's like we're going down our checklist. We're doing Dragon's Quest 10 expansions, that Bejeweled thing.
But he still had to apologize for confusion, and he had to deny the game had been canceled. So obviously some people were getting concerned.
Yeah.
The other reason people were concerned is that one of the longtime producers on the mainline Dragon Quest games moved to lead up Square Enix's mobile gaming division.
Boy.
But yeah, this was mostly him saying, yes, the game is still in development. Yes, we're going to share news about it soon. Which, honestly, for as long as it's been since we heard anything, and specifically about the mainline game, we haven't heard too much about Dragon Quest 12 since it was first announced.
The other thing is that Akira Toriyama and Koichi Sugiyama both passed away.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, Akira Toriyama was the character designer and Koichi Sugiyama was the composer. But according to Horii, their work is going to be in the game.
Yeah.
It's still going to be in the game.
Yeah, that's not difficult to do. But also, there are a few tidbits we know, like there's going to be an update of some kind to the command-based combat, and that I think your decisions will matter, and I think they're trying to be a darker version of this game or entry for the series.
Just so that people know, when a new Dragon Quest game, mainline game comes out, it is literally a holiday in Japan. I am not kidding. They literally declare it a holiday so no one has to go to work, because guess what? No one's going to go to work anyway when a Dragon Quest game comes out. It is that big in Japan. You thought Nintendo was big? No. This is the game that is gigantic in Japan. This is a game. This is everybody's not coming to work kind of game.
Yeah, I'm sure Dragon's Quest 12 will be their next AAA game. I
don't think how they could fail.
After the Final Fantasies.
Have you ever heard of a bad Dragon Quest game?
No. I mean, not really, no.
Then again, I could have said, have you ever heard of a bad Civilization game? And oh boy. Yeah. Early Access came out last week, and people were not happy with it, and it had general release, and people are even more not happy with it. It's mostly negative reviews on Civ, and there's a lot not to like. There's a lot to like, but it's overwhelmingly like people. Here's one of the major issues that people that hasn't really been talked about, but is a problem, is that there's DLC coming out a month after release. And you know what countries are not in the game already? England, for one. Have you ever heard of a Civilization game that didn't launch with England in it?
Yeah, that's a little odd.
But here's the thing. We already know where it's going. They're trying to turn Civilization into a live service game. It's as bald-faced as that. From the pricing, $70 for a base game, which has jack and shit in it, to $130, which has more of the game in it. There's a focus on crossplay, which, by the way, they had to stop for now while they're fixing the game, because they have to figure. And it is just bizarre. It's like the UI is the worst. You cannot live mouse over stuff, and when you do on some stuff, it gives you no information. When you switch ages, it's abrupt. It's like, okay, stop. We're done with that. It doesn't exist anymore. Here's a new thing. A lot of people have not been able to go to new ages because the game crashes on them. Some people can't save their local games because it won't let them. And to be able to save for them, they actually have to create a 2K account just so they can do a cloud save. The game was released unfinished. I think the only thing they really cared about were the graphics. There's just so much bad with the game. And a lot of it is not going to be fixed with a lot of patches. So I have to ask, Scott, have you actually played Civ 7 yet?
No, I haven't.
Do you have any desire to play Civ 7?
Not really. I've been kind of out of Civ for a while now. So
well, I mean that too, but I'm not going to play Civ. So here's the thing: if it's on Game Pass or it's being sold for $2 on Steam in the inevitable Steam sale, I'll check it out. But there's just so much that's a warning signs. Like, this is 2K. Remember, they're the ones behind NBA 2K. They're trying to do to a strategy game, a 4X strategy game, which they do to a sports game. There's a difference here, though. Sports games have to be updated yearly. Don't have to be, but they always do a yearly thing because they upgrade the rosters. Civilization games, 4X games don't. I just have a feeling that a lot of this has 2K's grimy little fingerprints all over it, you know?
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to try it yet. I've been very interested to go in there, like, kind of with an open mind and just see how it hits. But like, there's no denying that this is not what that longtime Civilization players keep saying this isn't what they wanted, and that's unfortunate.
Here's the thing. I saw 2 videos from people who went in with an open mind. They really wanted to like it, and they just could. One of them said, actually, if you play Civ 5, you're going to refund it immediately. If you play Civ 6, you might. And some players may just refund it immediately after seeing what the UI is like. It is also so dry. Like, a crisis will happen, but you know how you know a crisis is happening? There'll just be this sterile box that says, this crisis is happening. There'll be no fanfare. There'll be no, like, even in the first Civilization 1 game, when you had a We Love the President or Emperor, whatever your title was, day, you had this animation of people marching down the streets. Remember that Civilization 1?
Yeah, and the Ode to Joy song played.
Yeah. This game has no character. Also, one thing that someone said really annoyed them was that when you're talking to other civilizations, they don't look at you. They look at your avatar, whoever it is, like Benjamin Franklin. And your avatar won't react at all. Like, if you eliminate them, he does nothing. He just stands there. There's no sense of immediacy. It's like, you gotta make... Civilization is still an emotional game.
How much charm Civ 2 had when you had the council and they would advise you, and it was like a...
Oh, yeah, because you had Elvis Presley, and you had Sid Meier, and you had some other people. In fact, they keep on... When did they stop using Elvis? I think Civ 4 is when the last time they ever used Elvis.
Yeah.
But even in Civ 4, I believe when you defeated someone, they had a black eye, and they looked at you kind of like pissed off, And when you lost,
show emotion. Yeah, they definitely did. I think Catherine would slap you at one point.
But it's just strange, and a lot of this I can already see is because they want to milk people for DLC. And here's the thing. Sports gamers may tolerate it, and they're not tolerating it anymore. 4X players are not going to tolerate it at all. They're not.
That's a bummer. I guess I'm going to keep my eyes out for Endless Legend 2. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, because Endless Legend addresses that thing that you're talking about, like, the leaders that you have for each of the factions actually have their own personal story. So there's a little bit of more RPG elements in Endless Legend that make me hope they stick the landing with the second one.
And that's the problem. I mean, say what you want, having Benjamin Franklin leading the Egyptians does not feel right. Having Harriet Tubman lead the Japanese does not feel right. Here's the thing about Civilization is that, say what you want about the first 6 games, you had an identity, okay? When you started the game as the Egyptians, you remained the Egyptians, and you had an identity, and their leader would be, part of that. Here, they gamified it so much that it's like, what do you want? You know that they were focusing on multiplayer play with us. They were focusing on multiplayer play, and they're trying to get microtransactions in it. It's kind of obvious. And I don't care. You may play multiplayer Civilization, but that's not why you buy a Civilization game. And there's another problem, too. Well, go ahead. Say what you have to say, TJ.
I was going to say, I don't want to play Civilization at its best around the whims of other people. I want to play until 4 o'clock in the morning, going next turn, one more turn. That's pure distilled Civilization to me.
But
Civ is a single player game, I think. The experience of playing from the beginning of time to the modern age, and you could take months to play just one game, just one leader. And
this is coming from someone who plays the Polycast, folks.
Yeah, and I would play Marathon, and I would go through each era and play with each of the units, and just explore and just really just feel like that Civilization. I'm planning stuff out, and it's so much more fun when you're playing by yourself in this, and you have this whole world as your oyster, and that's just the fun of it.
Yeah, and someone else mentioned something that Civilization was the trendsetter, and this game feels like it's following trends.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
But okay, all that negativity said, there are players who are having a good time with it, because if you wipe out of your head that this is supposed to be a Civilization game, you can see where it might be fun in the future when it's all patched up, right? And you have the ultimate version and it's selling for $5 on Steam. In which, if
the typical months-long Civilization experience.
Yeah.
Wait for them to fix it. Wait for them to fix
but
the
here's
game
the
into its
thing.
real form.
The problem is that the things that have to be fixed cannot be fixed because it's all in the... What I'm saying is, if you don't think of it as a Civilization game and you wait a couple of months, wait for it to be on sale, you might have a fun game to play. You know, some people are having fun with it once they divorce themselves and they get over all the negativity about it. They say there is something there, but whatever it is, it's still not Civ. And here's the thing that Firaxis has to be careful of. You can lose a genre like that.
Yes, you can.
All I have to say is SimCity 2014, or is it, no, SimCity 2015. Whatever, 10 years ago, SimCity came out and EA lost the genre of city builder. They lost it. City Skylines came and ate their lunch.
Yep.
And see, the thing is that if I wanted to play a Paradox Interactive 4X game, I would play a Paradox Interactive 4X game or a Grand Strategy game. That's not what Civ is. And the thing is, I see the Sid Meier Civilization 7. I think of it as sort of like, oh yeah, and so is Tom Clancy. Yeah, he's still writing those games, right? 20 years after his death. This has as much to do with Sid Meier as those Tom Clancy games have to do with Tom Clancy. And the other thing is that, and I know some of the people, I don't know if you guys know it, maybe you know them personally. I know Soren Johnson and I know Brian Reynolds, and they had nothing to do with this game. And from what I understand, Civ 6 was by Civ fans, right?
Yeah.
I don't know who made Civilization 7, and I know it wasn't Sid Meier, for one.
I thought it was the director of Civ 4 that was on board for it.
That's Brian Reynolds. No, he wasn't. Oh, that's sorry. Soren Johnson did not have anything to do with this game.
Hold on.
Soren Johnson was Civ 4. Brian Johnson was Civ 5.
Oh, I'm sure we can.
Brian Reynolds. I'm going to look. Soren Johnson, he did not have anything to do with it. I don't think so. Yeah, no. He didn't. He had nothing to do with Civilization 7. He did Civilization 4, Off-World Trading Company, which I have. It's a pretty good game. And Old World, he was also involved with Civilization 3. But he did not have anything to do with Civilization 7. I know this because I would fast him. What the hell, Soren? Maybe I wouldn't have said that, but if he had been involved with Civilization 7, I would have said, no, off the record, Soren, what the fuck? Brian Reynolds did 5, if I remember correctly.
So from what I see here, it's Ed Beach for Civ 7.
Ooh, wow. Ed Beach. Jesus. So for those who don't know who Ed Beach is, he has been around for a long while, but
yeah,
he's not someone
I was going to say, it's somebody who is, it wasn't somebody that was like new to this franchise. It was somebody that had like a lot of time with it. So that's why I was surprised that it caught everybody so off.
But the problem is that Ed Beach, for everything he's worked on, he's not been he's worked in 4X. Oh, he did work on Civ 5. He was in Civ.
He apparently also designed some of the
DLC
for Civ 6.
So I'm gonna think that he was given instructions. He was given instructions by the higher-ups. Because what 2K wants is they want a live service game. And they see, ooh, Civilization, that gets a lot of players. Let's try and make that a live service game. You know, Civilization almost had its lunch taken. I wonder if you remember this game, Scott. Do you remember Civilization: The Test of Time?
Yeah, I think so.
So what happens is, at the time, for those you don't know, Civilization's rights were in question. Either 2K owned them or Activision owned them. So at that time, you had Civilization and you had Civilization Test of Time. 2K owned the license, and so what happens was that Activision came out with Test of Time 2, no Civilization attached. And a lot of people, as janky as it was, I did not like it, but a lot of people loved Test of Time 2 because it had the weirdest, batshit craziest units, like ecologists. You remember some of the weird stuff that was in Test of Time 2?
Yeah, I think so. And it looked a lot like Civ 2.
Yeah, it was done by so it was developed by Microprose's development studio, and by Hasbro, and it was released to compete with Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri. So it actually looked a lot like Alpha Centauri, not Civ 2.
Okay,
that was
I never saw Alpha Centauri, but this really does look like Civ 2.
Well, yeah, I mean, so did Alpha Centauri.
But a little bit nicer graphics, a little bit.
Yeah, that was 26 years ago, by the way.
Yeah.
1999. Oh, well, guess what? IGN says it's Test of Time is basically Civ 2 with upgraded graphics and controls.
Yeah.
The art going from 8-bit to 16-bit. But it was made to compete with Alpha Centauri. That's a game I'd like to see a remake of. And no, not Beyond Earth. I mean a remake in which they just upgrade the graphics and keep everything else alone. I only completed that game twice, but every time I did, it felt like an accomplishment. That game was tough. That game was difficult. And it was also like reading a hard sci-fi novel, really. So, some late news, just in case we haven't anything. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing that really pissed people off, by the way, about Civ that I forgot. You cannot change the names of cities.
Oh, yeah.
And you cannot have a larger than standard map.
That's a bit silly. Like, those are... Some of that stuff is, like, just plain features of Civ that they just didn't go with. My understanding is that in a normal campaign, you can't one more turn after, like, somebody's gotten victory either. Which... Why would you take that away? What if I want to keep seeing how things would go if I just kept playing it out?
Because it's a multiplayer game and they want you to start a new multiplayer game.
But that's not Civ at that point. Like,
well, guess what? there are modders who already unlocked all the civilizations, improved the UI, and added ludicrous-sized maps. So
after 6 games of Civ telling you it's okay to just keep playing and taking more turns even after victory's been claimed. Isn't it just kind of weird to now come to this game and be like, you can't do that anymore? Like, why?
But, hey, well, look, they didn't make SimCity 2015, but they decided it was a good idea.
Sure, and you know what? Like, I'm gonna say this. I hope that they go along the typical Civ path of like getting a couple DLC in and this really like blossoming into the game it's supposed to be, because people I remember far enough back to remember people fucking hating Civ 5 when it first came out, and then they released the DLC
that's
made
always
it.
Been the pattern though since Civ 4. It's like, oh, this game sucks. Oh, the DLC makes it better. Civ 5. Oh, it sucks. Oh, DLC makes it better. Civ 6. Oh, it sucks. DLC makes it better.
Yeah, and I guess what I'm trying to say is I hope this ends up following that same path and they get
but
there.
It can't, because it's very bones are unciv. They'd have to make Civ 8 to like I said, if they called the Civilization Revolution 3, no one would be complaining. Not a person. Well, maybe they'd be complaining about the UI and all that stuff. But then they'd understand, yeah, this is Civ Rev. Civ Rev is meant to be just play quick games,
Yeah, well, I guess we'll see what happens then, because
the complete edition will be worth $5 in the Steam
I doubt
store,
I doubt
Steam
Firaxis
sale. Steam sale, $5 in 6 months. Hey, it's a live service game. You only get the base shitty game without all the accoutrements they want, and then you'll have to pay $50 for the DLC.
I truly and wholly doubt that Firaxis is going to sit on their hands looking at all the feedback they've gotten and say, oh, well.
Yeah, but here's the thing. There's just so much they can change.
Yeah, but if they have the drive to do it and they have the staff to do it, and then if 2K lets them
they'd have to make a completely different game.
I don't know.
They might as well be working on Civ 8 then. Once they announced Civ 8 in like a year.
You said it yourself that there are people that really do enjoy this game. So it's not
they have to overlook a lot of shit to do it. But here's the thing: if something better comes out, they'll play that instead.
We'll see. I think let's revisit this conversation when like either the first or the second DLC has come out. And
let me ask you a question. Do you know if there's any SimCity game coming out?
There isn't, but that series has been dead for more than like a decade at this point.
You know who made that game? Will Wright. And it was always Will Wright who has said, his name is always said in breath tones alongside Sid Meier. And you know what? It's not like it hasn't happened before. Someone may come and eat civilization's lunch. It wasn't Our History Untold, and it's not Homeland? Yeah, Homeland.
Old World.
No, Old World is a completely different game. I'm thinking about the game that everybody accused of copying. Homeland.
It wasn't Homeland.
Civilization.
There's a lot of 4X games.
Not Homeworld,
trying to eat the lunch, as you were saying.
Humankind, right? Humankind.
Yeah.
I
don't know. Endless Legend 2 is coming out soon, so we'll see. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that Paradox Interactive usurped a long-time leader in a genre.
Maybe, but I don't know. I don't think that's a common story either. Like, I don't think that Civ is out of the game by any stretch of the imagination.
You'd be fucking surprised. Activision got out of the Civ game. Anyways, one last item. I think both of you might be interested in this. Have you heard of Ruffy in the Riverside?
No.
Okay, the demo is now out, and people are praising the shit out of it. It's a 3D platformer. You play as a grinning bear, Ruffy, and you have wizardly power to pull materials from the world and apply them to other sources. You need to cross a lake. Ruffy can't swim, but a patch of ice can turn the entire surface frozen, etc., etc. So it is a new 3D Mario World style game that has a demo out now, and people are urging everybody else to try it out. Ruffy and the Riverside. It's cute as hell, obviously, because it has a bear. It's not ukulele. Nor is it, what is the ukulele? Or it's not Banjo-Kazooie either. So. Anyways.
I need to see this because
the demo's out. It's on Steam and on console.
I want to see what this looks like. Oh, that's a weird looking creature.
Yeah.
What the hell is
that? 3D, 2D. It's 3D, 2D. I mean, the character is a 2D, but he rotates. Well, the rest of the world is in 3D.
I don't trust that thing. Why is it wearing a hood?
He has a big red nose, too. But no, there's a demo. Check it out.
I like the art style. It does look kind of cool as far as just like the way.
Well, it goes from 3D to 2D. Actually, it goes from 3D to 2D platforming, too. There will be parts in which it just turns into a 2D platformer as well.
That's kind of neat.
Yeah. It's just weird art style in which all the characters are like Paper Mario. Paper Mario in the middle of 3D Mario World. Let's call it that. But yeah, his green hood is disturbing because why would you wear that color hood if you have a dark brown skin, dark brown fur, and a big red nose? Oh, we know he takes his hood off sometimes. But yeah, then it goes into 2D elements. So, like I said, the demo is out now on Steam and console. You should try it out. Remember when demos existed? When every game
Okay.
had a demo?
There are still demos.
There's still demos, but it's rare. I mean, famously, most recent version of that is Metaphor di Fantasio had a demo. Oh, I almost forgot. That's another demo that I played and I really liked, and that is the new golf game, PGA Tour 2K25. Some people are saying it's not as good as 2K23, and I really can't attest to it, but I swear they use the normal thing for golf swings, but it feels like they made it a lot more responsive and crunchier when you're doing your golf swing. So I'm definitely going to be getting PGA Tour 2K25.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really liking what I had with my brief thing with it, and it doesn't look like they're going to be pushing microtransactions really hard either. But yeah, it's a golf game, and sometimes I really get into golf games, provided they're good. I know I'm probably going to be doing a lot of rage quitting and mulligans because I can't stand bad shots that were not my fault. I swear they're not my fault. Anyways, thanks for coming. We will see you next week.
Happy gaming, everyone.
Have fun. Be cool. Play games, y'all.
Bye-bye. End stream. End stream. End stream. End stream. End stream.
Okay.